why anime? Why anime? Why Japanese animation?
Right.
So I did this actually is a cool segue, because I did originally go into college to do animation. Like, that was my original degree path, was to go in and do animation.
Mhm.
Probably work for, Disney, Pixar, whoever would pick me up. That was like the dream. But I've always had a passion for 2D, just because growing up early 2000s, Disney was still, doing a lot of 2D animation movies. So CGI really wasn't a big part of, like, I guess, my childhood. So like when I got to college and they were like, yeah, we're not focusing on 2D anymore, we're focusing on 3D and CGI because that's what's big now. And I was just like, wow, like, but you don't have to pigeonhole yourself with just CGI. I understand it looks amazing, it does, but Japan literally does only 2D animation, and they're just as successful. Obviously there's still a lot of work involved and stuff, but I guess that's a segue into why I chose, anime, or animation from Japan. But it also stems back to my childhood as well, because living with my dad, I lived in a it was like a melting pot of Asian cultures. I grew up with Thai kids, Cambodian kids, Vietnamese, Chinese, a few Japanese, all in that one neighborhood. So even from a young age, it was kind of like I was around that culture like a lot, subconsciously. Like, as a kid, you just see as another kid as just, that's another kid. You don't think that, oh, that's like, a Vietnamese kid, or that's a blah, blah, because, we're all just kids, we're all hanging out. But going to their houses, being at the Asian festivals, like, the New Year festivals, all that stuff was just like instilled in me subconsciously. And I saw when I got older, I was just like, that is probably why I feel more comfortable, in this industry, and not feeling like I'm an outsider coming in. It's like I already was kind of like here, and I'm just learning more about it.
And we can look at that too, the cultural diversity behind it, because you're talking about growing up as a black kid growing up. Yeah. Say you watch some anime, people are like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, then they're gonna dog you out and pick on you because you watch something they're not used to, or they've been exposed to. Which is why I say now that they've been exposed to, which is interesting, because you see, once you expose somebody to something and they see how great it is, now they want to pick it up and go back and look at stuff that you've already looked at, but not thinking about the damage they've caused to somebody else when they was bullying them, trying to prevent you from working in your purpose.
Exactly. I can remember multiple experiences just in elementary school, not so much middle and high school. High school a little bit, but once you get to high school, it's kind of just like, well, if you don't like it, and I don't have to talk to you. You're already kind of developing your barrier. Right. So, I'm not gonna talk to you if you're gonna be like that. But in elementary school, definitely, like, that was like, it was like me and these like a little group of kids. It was like me, another kid named Chris, like a few other people. We were the ones where it's just like they were the nerds. Like no girls wanted to like talk to us. Like, we were the skinny kids not playing sports with the other kids playing sports. Like, we were talking about Sonic and talking about Naruto. Like, that was the thing.
I'm surprised you don't even say Digimon. You didn't like Digimon?
We didn't grow up with Digimon, because Pokemon, when we hit elementary school, Pokemon Fire Red came out for the Game Boy Advance. So that was like our generation. Like, Digimon wasn't even like a thing for us.
It was on Adult Swim.
I did not.
The new Digimon. When you stayed up late at night on Saturday nights, they had the newer version of Digimon on Adult Swim.
We just were not. That was not our thing. Like, I knew of it. I knew of it. I knew it not. That wasn't. I guess it once like 2004 hit or whatever. Whenever like that was, nobody really thought about it anymore.
So I'm gonna ask a personal question, because we're talking about people bullying kids about what you want to do when you're younger. Did you ever fight any mental health issues dealing with that, like depression or being down on yourself?
Growing up, now looking back, I could probably say yes, because I wasn't the best in school. Like, school was always hard for me, like, because I was such a creative. I could just not grasp like history and stuff. I was good at, but like math and like all the other, like that kind of technical stuff, I was not good at. So I always struggled. And it's just like, and growing up when I was young, I always thought that there was something wrong with me, because everybody else in my class was, honor roll, blah, 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 they're getting good grades, praises, oh, they're amazing. And here I am in the principal's office almost every week with my mom about my grades or my behavior or blah, blah, blah. So I always felt like I was the odd person out. And like, it probably was, and me being an only child as well, there were times where it was like, man, like, I'm kind of worthless. Like, I'm never going to be anything. And once I got to high school, I wouldn't say it was worse, but it was more so like I wasn't beating up myself. It was just I knew what I wanted to do, and I was just like, I'm not gonna need any of this stuff to do what I want to do. Like, I'm not gonna need trigonometry. I'm not gonna need calculus. I'm not gonna need algebra to do what I'm doing. I'm already doing it. I don't need. So it was almost like then it was like a rebellious stage, because then it's just like now I'm not gonna do it because I know what I want to do, and I'm a teenager. I was me and my mom. That was like our that was like the worst part, I guess. Not in our relationship, but just in terms of just that was when we were fighting almost all the time, because she's like, you need to do your work, blah blah blah. She can go to college, and I'm just like, but I want to do art because all this stuff doesn't matter. But there were times definitely where depression hit, to where it was just like, because even then my friends were in AP classes, I was in the slow class. They didn't have to go to summer school. I had to go to summer school every single year for high school.
So what did you do to overcome that?
That's actually where it's just where anime came in, because anime was like the escape for me, because there were so many stories of slice of life stories, shonen stories of the underdog that was like the one that was the outcast.
Yes, the protagonist.
The protagonist that ended up becoming what everybody loved in the end, no matter like what he went through. So that was like the most inspiring to me, because it's like, yeah, he might have all of these faults just like me in real life, but he kept pushing forward, he kept working hard, and now everybody looks up to him. So that was like the main reason. I think it definitely helped. That and music definitely helped, like keep me in like a mindset, I'm gonna keep pursuing, I'm gonna keep pushing, I'm gonna keep working hard, and now I'm here somehow.
So you the IRL of Naruto Uzumaki?
Yes.
Tamika, if you don't know who Naruto is,
of course not.
So Naruto was like, he was the only child. His parents got killed when he was a baby. So he ended up having the hard life because he had this demon put inside of him, and everybody was scared of him. And so he had to face all of these adversities just so he can define and be himself. And nobody even wanted to hang out. He just wanted to be a regular kid and wanted to have a regular life, but he couldn't have that because society wouldn't allow him to have that. But towards the end, well, not even the end, because the story's still going on, he ended up being the most inspirable person that you can have within the Hidden Leaf Village, to where everybody looked up to him, and he worked his butt off to show them that he was just as relevant as everybody else. And he wanted to be the biggest leader and the Hokage, which is you want to say the president of the Hidden Leaf Village, so he can inspire others around them that no matter what you're going through, that's why I love Naruto. No matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, no matter what your struggles are, you are great and you can still be great.
I think once you find your calling and your passion and you tap into that, no matter what industry it is, you kind of find the loopholes and you navigate. So as I'm listening to you, from a parent perspective of two kids, a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, I definitely understand. I've been in education forever. So I struggle with it. I know my husband definitely does. He's more of the old school sports guy. I'm more of, we need reading and math because we have to pass this test. But I'm very aware that after 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, your GPA starts over. So I'm really big on talking through these things, that we need to make sure that our daughter, who has a lot of challenges, who's very creative, that we put her in the right environment. And so listening to your story, it sounds like you was, and I grew up single parent household with my mom and my dad, but that goes to show us that being in different environments and exposure, how it influences your decisions over the long haul. For me, I'm blessed enough to be able to say, hey, I'm going to put my kids in a private school and pay for it. And that's sometimes hard because other parents are like, oh, you think you're better than me? Or why do you feel like your child need to go to a private school? We grew up in public. Oh, public is not good enough. No, my daughter has some challenges that the private school totally gets and understands and speaks to her. And I feel like she gets to be her authentic self in that space. And I feel like enough. So this is for the parents that's listening. Stop judging your kids based off other people's kids. Allow your kids to really grow and find out what's really influencing their decision, their choices, why they are the way they are. We can learn a lot from Chris on really not trying to pressure them into what we think. society wants for our kids, and really kind of look at how can we develop their talents and their skills so that they can be their best self. And that's what I aspire to do with my kids and other young people that I motivate and that I inspire. So you are an inspiration. Don't ever forget that.
Thank you.
So what brought on the comic book, or not the comic book, the manga? Because it's not a comic book.
I was okay. So it's kind of cool. So in high school, I was working on. It was my very first story. I was just like, I think I have. I was, how old was I? Maybe 16, 17. I was like, I think I've read enough manga and read enough, watched enough anime to like make my own story. So, and I started out with my first story, which was called Future of Love, and it was terrible. it was basically a ripoff of Sword Art Online. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes.
Okay, so it was a ripoff of SAO, but it was so bad. The plot was terrible. The character design was terrible. I ended up drawing 195 pages. So like I had like a whole, it was a lot. And like all of my friends were in it, like it was involved, like they were like all reading the different chapters. I'm like, oh, it's me. Like, so it was cool in that sense. Mm-hmm. But I was going into college, so I started that story in 2015, 16, and I was going into college with it. So 2000, I started in 2017. So I went in 2017, 2018, something around there. I went into college with it, and I was still working on it, and I was just like, man, I feel like I could do better. Like, I feel like this story, either I could go and change everything or start fresh. Mm-hmm. And even my friends were like, you kind of do this a lot. You'll get really invested in something, and then you're like, all of a sudden get bored and you want to do something else. And I was just like, I don't know. I was like, something's telling me that I could do something better. So I was in my room in my apartment, and I was just thinking up of ideas. I couldn't come up with anything because I was like, I feel like everything's already been done. Like the main hero wants to be something, so that's the goal for the entire story. I feel like that's already been done so many times. Mm-hmm. And I was talking, and then I think at some point, like I called Uncle Brunson, just to say hey and just to talk to him. And I talked to him what was going on. I'm trying to think of a story and blah, blah, blah. And then we started talking about biblical stuff, and he was talking about Revelation. And then it just like a light bulb went off. And I was just like, no, that's never been done before. Like no one's ever made a story based on the apocalyptic last book of the Bible. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, that could be like really, really good if I work on it. So I had that basic idea. And then I went to talk to my professor at the time. I'm pretty sure his name was Keith. And I'm pretty sure Keith is not a believer. I think so I want to get his opinion from an outside source that isn't a Christian to see like, hey, this is the story that I've come up with from just a person that's not a Christian. How would you like, view this and like blah, 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 blah. Because my goal was to make the story to where people that were Christians could watch it, enjoy it, and pick out and be like, that's from the Bible, and it'd be cool. But also people that weren't Christians could just watch it and be like, this is just a good story and it's not preachy. Mm-hmm. And that's been my ultimate goal with the entire story. Like I want to make sure everybody can watch it without feeling like the religion's being pushed on them, because that no one likes that. No one likes just people pushing religion on them. No one. So I started working on the character designs in that class with him. I started coming up with concepts, blah 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 blah. And the story's changed I think 2 times before I officially started on the first book. But then I started on the first book in college. It was 2018, middle of 2018 when I started working on it, and then by May of 2019 is when I published the first book.
You got a question for that, Tamika?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Before we go, or I know we're not wrapping up yet, but I just want you to tell people that are listening, how can they contact you? How can they get your information? How can they purchase your books? And so just give us a little bit of where we can find you.
So my main, I guess, platform that I'm on is Instagram right now. It is it's spelled the same way as my name is Chris Burns, but the way it's CHR instead of an I, it's an X. S.BURNS. So it's Chris.Burns, but the I is an X. I try to make that my handle everywhere so that way everybody can find me. But that's where you can find all my art posts. I normally post videos. I have a live stream on YouTube that I do every Friday to help other artists, learn techniques. and just kind of chill with me while I work on my stuff. And then if you want to purchase the book, if you go to Google and just type in Chikara Power of God, it'll pop up everywhere, but I'm on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and type in the book name, then you can find the paperbacks, the ebooks, everything that I've put out so far.
Tell the title of the book so we can make sure that we're able to capture it.
So it's Chikara, which is Chikara, and then Power of God.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So how was the process of once you got the concept down, you got the pages together, you got your story together, what was that process like of actually getting the book together to get ready to publish it? And then what made you get over into Amazon? Did you look for any other publishers to pick it up, or you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do this on my own?
So at first, the main process when I had all the pages together, because even at that time, like self-publishing, it was there, but I don't think it was as like popular even as it is now. Like back in 2018, like it was still like you either had to know what company to go with, or like you didn't know anything at all. So when I started getting all the pages together, because at first I was like, should I pitch to a company? And it being a manga and not a traditional comic, that already limits me, because a lot of American comic companies probably would not pick it up because it's not fully colored, it's not American, like it's not like something that an American could look at and be like, I relate to this. And I was like, well, should I send it over to a Japanese company like Shonen Jump, or like any other publishing company in Japan? And I was just like, well, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm a foreigner, and at the time my art was not, at least what I thought, my art was not good enough, because in Japan they pride themselves on obviously the art, and they've told, and if you look at other manga artist stories from Japan, they've said that like I had to go through for like a year to 2 years and just get better at my art style before they even let me like pitch it to someone, because if they open up the thing and like your art's not good, he said they'll shut it in your face and be like, no, your art's trash, like you got to go back. And they're really harsh on people over there for that. But from once I had all the pages together, and I was just like, okay, do I want to self-publish? Do I want a publishing company? At the time, I had no idea like what to even do. Like I was just like, I was brand new. I was like, I had no idea. Like there's publishing companies out, like I mentioned earlier. I was like, there's Saturday AM. At the time, they're like the leading American. They're basically the Shonen Jump of America right now. They're the up and coming manga company, and they pride themselves on diversity, on how like what comics they have in their magazine. So there was Saturday AM, but other than that, there was no one else in America that was really touching into that manga field. So I was like, I don't know if I should pitch it to them. I think at one point they had an opening up, and I don't remember if I did or not at that time. But eventually I was just like, I feel like I could, at least for now, self-publish to get, the brand together, get some fan base going, and, just put it out there and see what'll happen. And at first, the first company that I went with was Lulu.com. They are an official self-publishing service where you can, you get all your files together, you upload them, they'll put them all together, and you can upload your cover photo, all that stuff, and get it together. And I'm pretty sure I have like the original somewhere. It's somewhere around here from them. And it came out good. It came out really, really good. And, obviously you saw the original first book from whenever that was. I, sent to family, friends, and everyone was just like, yo, this story is like, really good. And I was just like, okay. So I worked on book 2. Then I released book 2 in August. Was it 2020? It was August of 2020. Book 2 came out. Sent that out, and that was a lot more well received. I had more of a fan base, friends, family, but also other people. I have some fans in the UK. There's somebody in Norway that like keeps up with my stuff. So it's like, and a couple people in Japan too. So it's like becoming more like I'm getting more people from around the world to really see like what I'm doing. Since then, and then I was doing Lulu, and once COVID hit. Because Lulu's they have FedEx. FedEx is their main distributor. When COVID hit, I don't know what happened, but FedEx tanked. FedEx, people were saying it took 2 weeks to get my book, and like some people said like a month, and I was just like, what? I was just like, this can't be happening, because I don't want it to be a hindrance for someone to want to buy my stuff and they're waiting that long to get it. So I was just like, well, who else is doing self-publishing? And I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere else like Amazon does self-publishing. And I was just like, let me look into Amazon. So I looked into Amazon, and I was just like, okay. this looks the same as Lulu, but then, obviously they're run by their own thing, Amazon Prime. And I was just like, all right, at first I had them on both platforms, and I was just like, and more people were buying on Amazon than Lulu for obvious reasons. And then eventually, because it's still on Lulu, but Lulu, it's not in my link anymore, my link tree. I just took it off because it's just like, if I want people to buy it, I want people to go straight to Amazon because it's convenient, it's fast, it's easy. And they have ebook options as well. Lulu doesn't have ebooks. They only have paperbacks. So once I got to Amazon, then I was just like, that's where I need to be. And that's where I am now. Currently, I'm still self-publishing on Amazon.
So what is their process like getting published on Amazon? Is it extensive?
No, not at all. You get all your files together. They have their, page layout and everything. You upload everything. They tell you to review everything. You go through each page and make sure it's sized right. Everything looks good. And then you upload the cover photo. And then by then you hit review, your name, the title, all that stuff. And then you hit, publish, and they'll send you a proof copy, to look at it. And then once you've approved the proof copy, then it's able to be distributed, and it's good to go.
Yeah, I asked that question so people can understand that you're not tied down to a system to where you have to go hunt down somebody else to publish your stuff. You can go and do it yourself. And it's easy to go out there and do your own self-publishing stuff to where you can make money off of a book that if you want to write a book, it don't have to necessarily be a manga. Even if you're a writer, you can write it and publish your own book. You're not tied down to the traditional means of doing things. So you can still make your own content and then publish it out like you want to.
Exactly. And when you do that, I mean, the hardest part is honestly just branding yourself in general. That's honestly, because the story, you got to draw, you got to write it. But the hardest part literally is branding yourself, because if you don't have a solid brand, like a look, people are gonna be like, that doesn't really look good, or I'm not gonna be into it. And that was hard for me. That's why I went to design school, and I'm glad I did, because they taught me, a lot of the teachers that I had, the professors, since I was going in with this story, they helped me brand the story, the characters, the colors, and all that stuff. That way I look even though I'm not super duper famous yet, people look at my stuff and they think it's already popular and trending. And I'm very grateful to them, because before, if you saw some of the concept colors and sketches, it was all over the place. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But yes, you can definitely publish yourself. It's definitely and now with COVID being such a weird thing in our society, it's kind of everybody's, for the most part, a lot still online. So ebooks are popular, online stuff is popular. People can read it on their phone, they're gonna go for it. Before COVID, I was supposed to go to MomoCon in May and have a booth and everything set up, because that's also another avenue. Especially if you're in a manga and comics, going to Comic Cons, and if you have a booth set up, that's the place to be. Because if you can get people to come to your booth and you pitch your idea, and it's, like I said, well branded, solid, people will buy it. And, you can get a lot of eyes on your stuff at going to Comic Cons and stuff.
So, Tamika, you got a question before I go into it? Because I'm about to get into small business. So you got a question? Because I see it in your face.
No. I'm going to let you go into small business, which is my passion, and then I'll go from there. So far, so good. I'm engaged.
That's why I want to go into it, because we always
so we'll go into small business.
Yes, we talk about small business all the time. So, and you just talked about brand management. How did you end up finding and then deciding this is what I want for my comic book and for pretty much your company, because you are your brand for your company? How did you come up with your concept and settle on, this is the platform, this is what I love, and this is what I'm going to push?
Let's see. Well, it all stems back to, I guess, being diverse and having diversity, because coming in design school, once I transferred from animation to digital art and design, the first thing they instill is, obviously you have to be well branded, you have to know design, you have to know the fundamentals, blah, 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 blah. But they gear, at least at Full Sail, that's where I went to college, they gear the designers to be able to go to these other companies, for example, let's say Nike or Adidas. They're gearing you to go towards those companies, so that way you can get into their algorithm and design for them. They very, at least when I was there, they very rarely pushed, they did push freelance, but they didn't push it enough to where it's you should also aim to, have your own company. Like it was more so they're gearing you to go work for someone else. And then eventually, you know, maybe do your own thing. So doing that process of like figuring out, because I was doing my manga obviously during the time I was in school, and I was just like, you know, man, like I feel like I could be like, this could be like a totally different platform if you like use it the right way. And of course, like, you know, me being in the anime and manga, I was already kind of diverse in that sense. But I was like, you know, man, like I could intertwine like my manga with my design as a designer and put them both together. Hence my, you know, my slogan being bringing cultures together through comics. Even though what I do is a mixture of, you know, manga, comics, animation, graphic design, I do like a bunch. And I wanted to be able to pretty much go anywhere as a freelancer or as my own company and be well received by any culture, not just, you know, American culture or Asian culture. And so far it's been a blessing being able to do what I do and talk to these different people from around the world and just work on stuff, because then they see that he's not just geared towards, you know, I don't want to say like American branding, but in terms of just like, I guess that like the type of design, like I pride myself on being able to do research and do designs for like any culture, whether it's, you know, Brazilian, African, Asian, you know, American, like anything. And so I hope that answers your question.
It does. And see, what it does is what you see, your whole conversation before we even get into the end of the show is you built an entire platform. I don't know if you even realize that from the time that you was a kid to what you wanted to do, you tested things out, tested the market out to realize, okay, I need to do something a little bit better, and you changed it. So it's always free flowing and it's fluid. And then you finally decided on, this is what I'm going to go with. You got some education behind you, because like I always say, you need education. I don't care what nobody says, higher education is not meant for you to go to school to get a degree. It's meant for you to establish a foundation upon what you want to build on for your own personal future. That is what it's supposed to be about. This whole notion of, I'm gonna get a degree so I can go work somewhere, screw that trash. No, it is about you going to get a foundation. No, it is a foundation for what you want to build upon.
Everyone is not meant to be an entrepreneur.
No, still. Even
Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur.
No, it's not even being an entrepreneur. I'm talking about if you want to work for a company, still. You need if you have a talent or passion about doing something, you still need foundation to build your house on.
I agree.
So you have to have that. So you decided on that. School helped you to, as the ideas that you had on your mind melding, to reel it into something more structured, put into place, and you had steps put into place to get you along to the next step. And that is what small business is about. You did your research on how you want to publish your manga, your novel. You decided on your animation style and how you want to get that set up. You put everything, you pretty much put a business plan together from the time you was a kid all the way up until now to have a successful business. Because no matter how big you see yourself, others see you as big because they have not achieved the step that you have. Right. So you are big and you are great. I don't care how many books you have not sold, you have the potential to sell more because you've already put plans in place for you to be successful. So that is what we try to talk about on our program and how we aspire to youth, especially minorities, and how you can do things to brand yourself, because you are always your personal brand. And you can be successful just as well as these corporations, because they did the same thing you did. Matter of fact, they hired people like you to come in and help them on their platform to be successful.
That's what I want to say. I want to challenge you to think about hiring someone and developing yourself as not just a freelance artist or just you being the only person. Take that same concept and think about, yes, I am doing this even at 22, but building a company and building a brand so that you can become an entrepreneur, a global entrepreneur, which is what you already are. But also think about how you can employ, train, and teach someone else who's coming along that may not be able to go to a full-scale university, which is a very expensive school out of state. Great for what you've learned, but always think about how you can reach back and now you can train someone else who is looking for that opportunity. Maybe they are in college and they need someone like you to say, hey, you can do this, so think about you getting an employee maybe, or an intern, someone that you can maybe offset some of the things that you're not able to do, or that you can focus your attention onto something else by allowing someone else to help you out or to develop that skill. And that's where sometimes as minorities, that's where our business stops.
Mm-hmm.
To where we're not able to develop enough other people in that same skill set and that same talent pool to where we can grow our companies into multi-million-dollar companies. That's why we do end up going to work for other people. And it is nothing wrong with that, but it is great to always aspire to have your own and to really understand what it takes to have your own. And it can be an expensive thing. It takes money to make money. So all of those things. And I wanted to mention, you talked about being able to go to shows, and I'm in the middle of that for my industry. The beauty shows are huge, right? You go to Bronner Brothers, you go to Premiere. I'm used to being there every year. Last year was probably like the first year ever I didn't go to a hair show in the last 20 something years of my career. So guess what? I'm having to rebrand, retool. I have a photo shoot on Saturday because now with the virtual platforms, I wanted to tell you that create your own event. Now you can create your own event, put it on Eventbrite, and invite people to join you to sell and to showcase. So that's the information that I want to leave you with, is to think about how with everyone being virtual now, you don't have to travel. You're not spending as much money. You can buy more books or sell more books. You can connect with people around the world, around the globe. So that would be what I would want to leave you with, is to set up your own event, have people come and talk to you, maybe a one-on-one with Chris, and just continue to develop your brand. So congratulations and wishing you much success in the future.
Thank you.
So before we leave, top 5 anime.
Top 5? Okay,
Yours.
My number one ever has to be Naruto, just because that's where it all began. Second, Attack on Titan. I don't know if you're caught up on Attack on Titan right now.
No, and do not tell me about the new season.
Okay.
I have
crazy.
not.
I'm caught up on the manga, but also the anime. It's like, oh, it's so good. So Attack on Titan. Third is My Hero Academia.
Mhm.
Love My Hero. Me and my mom are almost caught up. Like I'm caught up. I'm trying to catch her up on season 4. So Attack My Hero Academia was that 3? So 4 would probably be Tokyo Ghoul. A lot of people don't like it because of the anime. Yeah. But like the second season, people didn't like the second season because apparently it skipped a lot in the manga or whatever. I liked it. And then so number 5, I'd say number 5 would have to be Haikyuu, just because I love volleyball. So I gotta give it a Haikyuu.
So tell us why we should learn more about this platform, become more familiar. Someone like me who has no clue. Familiar because I'm smart. I am. I'm a nerd. I love to read and learn new things. So tell someone who doesn't have a clue why they should learn a little bit more about anime and the things that you're doing.
I definitely can say that looking at it from just an outside perspective, and people are just like, that looks weird, because there are some weird there's some weird anime out there. I'm not gonna lie, there's some, even I'll be like, that's weird. But there now is probably the best time to get involved with anime and manga, because it's becoming more and more diverse. 3-5 years ago, the manga and anime is predominantly obviously Asian culture. They're drawing characters to look white because they're catering to Western audiences. So most of the characters you see, even if they are quote unquote Japanese, they look white. But now more anime like adaptations of manga and manga creators are incorporating more and more characters from different cultures. They're drawing black characters now. Like My Hero has, I think, like a few black characters. Now,ruto has a whole village of black people.
Fire Force.
Fire Force, yes. Fire Force has the black character. So they're now realizing that, okay, and it could be the thing like they're seeing in the Western culture that, you know, black people are getting more involved into it. So it could just be a business thing. But I think some of the creators have been interviewed and said, like, you know, like they've been interviewed, like, why are you adding like black characters and stuff? And they're just like, because that's how the world is. Like, the world isn't just Asian people and it's not just white people. Like the creator My Hero, I'm pretty sure either it was My Hero or it was who was it? It was either My Hero, it wasn't creator One Piece. I'm pretty sure it was My Hero. Kohei said that, like, I don't know why we haven't been doing this. Like, I don't know, like, why this is such a taboo thing for us to do in Japan. It's like draw black people in, because even in Japan, when I was there were black people there. Like, it's not a lot, but there are black people in Japan. Like, it's not just like an abnormal, like, oh my gosh, there's a black person. Like, they're there. Like, I don't understand like why that's such a taboo thing. But even he says, like, you know, he encouraged people, like, you know, be more diverse. And it's taking time to see it, but it's definitely here. So if you get into manga and anime, don't go in thinking that, oh, this is just like them catering to white people, or oh, this is only for Asian people, because it's not, because they're now incorporating our culture as well into their stuff and giving an avenue for black people to be like, hey, that character looks like me, because so far it hasn't been. You know, we've been looking at all these other characters like, you know, that doesn't look like me. I might relate to the personality or the lifestyle, but physically that doesn't look like me. So, right. You know, when you're watching an anime and all of a sudden like a black character comes in and he looks cool, you're just like, oh snap, like we're
right.
Like, that's cool.
And that's why I want more people. That's the reason why you should get into animation and design, so we can create more characters that look like, because we were saying the same thing about Marvel in the comic books. It wasn't a lot of black characters, and the black characters that were created, like Black Panther, wasn't created by a black guy, it was created by a white guy. And so like going forward, that's why we need more black artists to be like you, create more manga and more comic books geared upon our culture. Because I mean, I do like seeing stuff like that, like Fire Force. So Fire Force is one of my top 5. I love Fire. It's one of my top 5 of the new animes that's out, because I don't want to go into all the old school. So you just got Fire Force. You have Demon Slayer. Yeah, you didn't even say Demon Slayer. So it's Fire Force.
I liked it. I'm just waiting for the second season. You know, they're taking so long because of the movie and everything. I'm just like,
it's a generation thing. He's 22, you're 40. your mind is on.
Demon Slayer is new. Demon Slayer is brand new. So it's Demon Slayer. You got Fire Force. You got Tower of God. Like I said, the manga is great. The anime is great. Of course, Attack on Titan. If you leave Attack on Titan now, you trash. I mean, Naruto, all the way up to Naruto Shippuden. Boruto can, yeah, whatever. I don't care about his magic eye and stuff that's coming out. I don't care about that. And then you have one of my classics is Ninja Scroll. And then you have, you didn't see Ninja Scroll?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. And then Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is old school and it has black characters in there. And it incorporates some of the black culture into some of the Asian designs that's in there as well. You like Hunter x Hunter?
I couldn't get into Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist. Those were like my two.
No, not even Bloodline.
I could not get into.
Oh, Chris,
it was just one of those things. It was just one of those things. But in terms of diversity, definitely. I pride myself on my story because I have a character. The main character, he's Asian American. The second lead, her name is Diaz. She's Venezuelan. I have black characters in there based from, my mom, my dad. Like, I have characters from Mexico in there. Like, I try to incorporate, or my goal is to try and incorporate everybody. So if it indeed comes an anime adaptation, like, people can watch it and be like, and clearly see that is a Hispanic character and not just an Asian looking character that is quote unquote Hispanic. Like, I want them to physically see. Like, I just introduced actually an Indian character in my past chapter. His name's Raheem. So it's just like, I want to introduce like different cultures.
Raheem Black, I'm sorry.
What?
Raheem Black. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you make him. Raheem is black and he light skinned. I don't want to hear it.
Wait, why you gotta be light skinned?
Raheem is black and he light skinned. You're right. I'm just like,
where can
that's the fun about our show, right? We love to make you laugh and inspire you and keep it fun. But that is so awesome and amazing to hear, that we're being included and that we're being thought about. And then it's always great to be intentional.
So I want you to tell everybody again where they can reach you at. And then I want you to say that slogan, because you only said that slogan one time and that slogan was good. So where can people reach you again, and where is the slogan? And then, like we always end our show, I told you a word of encouragement, because I want you as a you to inspire others as well too.
So you can find me again is my main platform is Instagram. If you go to Instagram, that has my link tree, has everything you can find me, like other podcasts, my YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. But it's Chris.Burns, and the I is in X, so it's an I, like, so CHR XS.BUR in S. So it's Chris Burns. If you look on Instagram, that's where you can find all my stuff. My brand slogan for like what I promote for everything is bringing cultures together through comics. That's my motto. When people see that, I want them to think of me. And in terms of encouragement, my main encouragement that I try to give to anybody, whether it's, you know, art, music, or whatever, is to pretty much just keep at it, because I've seen a lot where people get discouraged because, and I've gone through it too, to where you'll see somebody that's doing what you're doing and they're better, and you're like, you know, I'm never going to be that good. Like, that's the first thing, and especially if you're creative, we're our number one critique, because we always critique ourselves. We're always like, man, like, I feel like I could be better, or like, this is terrible, even though people might be like, this is amazing. You know, you might be thinking to yourself like, nah, it's not that good. Like, this so-and-so does it better. And that's something I have to struggle with. Like, you know, I love making comics and manga, but, you know, reading My Hero Academia, Naruto, Attack on Titan, they're what pushed me, because their art is still on such a higher level. And I'm just like, oh, like, if I could only figure out how to do like what they can do. But that gives inspiration to me instead of putting me down. But it used to put me down, because I used to be like, man, I'll never be, you know, as good enough as like them. So definitely keep striving, keep doing whatever it is you do. Just keep doing it. No matter if it's your passion and you feel like that's what, you know, you, or if you're religious, if that's what God is telling you to do, do not let anybody else, whether it's your friends, family, or the world, tell you not to do it, because they might just be telling you not to do it because they already know you're going to succeed at it. So they're just trying to get you not to do it so you can be another average Joe like them, because they're not doing anything. That's my word for it. It sounds terrible. It sounds mean.
No, it does not. No.
No, it don't.
No.
That's the real world.
Yes.
It is.
No.
And I've had to experience it, and thankfully not a lot, but of just people just being, especially in the art community, just being so just mean and hateful to other artists, because it's just like, you know, you're doing what they want to do, but they're not to that level yet. And it's like, you should be like inspired and encouraged. And even people from just my past, like elementary school and stuff, the same people that me and Tony are talking about that picked on me for anime, blah blah blah, said you're a nerd, you're never going to be anything. People in high school that told me that you're never, because my GPA was low, I was like the kid that was the not going to be anything kid. You look at him, you're like, oh, he's not going to be anything. People were telling me like, you're not gonna have your own series, art's a waste of time, you're gonna be starving artist, you're never gonna make it to Japan. And then like all three of those things happened back to back to back. After I went to college, got my book published, went to Japan, and now those same people are trying to hit me back up to try to, hey, let's hang out, let's connect.
No, unavailable.
Nope. So,
nope, not available.
Never. Sorry, like, because you're working at wherever, like Burger King. I'm so like, you can work at Burger King. I'm not saying don't work at Burger King, but just because your life isn't where you want it to be, and now you look at me and you're trying, and it's either it hasn't been any dudes. It's always been these girls that I used to have a crush on, and like they want anything to do with me back then. And now all of a sudden that, you know, I'm not like the richest guy, but like I'm doing stuff. Now all of a sudden I'm.
No, we don't do that. No, you are.
Yeah, you are the richest guy. That's why they're reaching out to you.
Yes.
They're reaching out to you because they see, oh, nerd Chris. Nerds always win. That's what I say.
Yes.
They're like, oh, that's Chris. Chris all of a sudden looking good.
Right.
Chris is on TV.
Right.
Chris got his own show.
Because we got to break away from that.
Forget Raheem. I like Chris.
Right. Because you can't, that's the thing we always, so we got to break that culture. We can't always equate richness to dollars. You're rich in knowledge. You're rich in experience. You're rich in being the expert that you are, and your business to push forward, and your tenacity to be successful. And with all that, the universe and God is going to bless you with the money on the back end of it. So yes, you are rich. You are very rich. So go ahead, Tamika. We're gonna leave it off. We're gonna before I get to my my thing.
That's some good stuff. Come on, Chris. We're gonna welcome Chris coming back, you guys, for another show. We're gonna talk about something totally different, but we definitely will have Chris Burns back on the show. So as you know, I am Tamika Day. Success is my superpower. And one thing that led me into my motivational thought is something that Chris said. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So be yourself, show up, be intentional, and let the universe and God move you into the areas that you need to be in. Once again, I'm Tamika Day, hashtag success is my superpower, hashtag more than a stylist, and thank you for joining.
Yeah, see, I need me a slogan. See, everybody got slogans. I don't have me a slogan yet.
Your game, you gotta get your game on. Get your game.
So I mean,
in the Matrix, you do have one.
That is not my slogan. I mean, I can make one. Well, you know what? I can make one off of that. Yes, I'm gonna make one off of that. But no, I'm glad I had Chris on today. It was very inspiring, and that's the whole goal that I want to achieve with bringing him on, is just to encourage people that you don't have to have this cookie cutter life that people have envisioned upon you, that you can work toward. One thing I say, work towards your dreams as long as your dreams are not hurting anybody else. So if people want to deter you from doing what you feel passionate about doing, and just because they can't envision what you want to do, your vision is not meant for everybody to see, because they have their own things that they should be working towards. Your vision is for what God is giving, the universe is giving you, for you to succeed in your own life. And so once you work towards your own personal goals and you build out the world that you have set forth to build out, only then will people see the vision you put into place. And like what's happening, they're gonna want to come try to walk and knock on your door when it was dissing you early on. So aspire to live and be your greatest. And like I always say, take your 3 L's, you'll live, love, and laugh, because that's something we should aspire to do every day. And what I'm gonna leave everybody with is a goal with no plan is called a delusion. You need a plan in order to achieve your goal. And that's from Kai Chisaki, aka Mr. Overhaul from My Hero Academia.
We just hit that arc yesterday, and I was like, that sounds a little familiar.
that show is one of the, and the manga is one of the greatest things, because there's a lot that was written and that has been produced. And there again, a goal with no plan is called a delusion, because you can have a goal, but if you don't have a plan like Chris had a plan that he's been working towards and put into place. So if you don't have that, then you don't have nothing. You have to always prepare, learn, and execute on all that you need to do to be successful in life. No matter if you want to go to continue education or not, you always have to learn on how to build upon your platform and to create your own brand, not bland. So I, again, am Antonio Hicks, Mr. Escaping the Matrix. You can find me on PTG, myself and Tamika, PTGTV.online. Thank you all for always tuning in. Love you. And remember, like Tamika says, success is your superpower. Take those 3 L's, live, love, and laugh. Peace out.
All right. Happy podcasting.
Yeah, happy podcasting.